So, have you ever picked up a guitar and thought, what the hell do I play? Or someone's asked you to play a solo and you just feel confused and lost and you're not really sure what you should be playing. Well, this is when learning how to improvise properly comes into play. So the first thing I would do in order to become better at improvising is learn the cage system. So this is 5 shapes. I've actually made a video on this. You can go check this video out on my channel. I'll just leave the thumbnail up here. So the cage system is a system which allows you to learn one scale, the major or minor pentatonic scale, and it can be applied to other scales as well. These are the first 2 which you should learn because they're the most widely used scales in popular music. Learn how you can apply these to the 5 positions of the cage system. So by this, what I mean is the C shape. You have open C. That's the first position. C of cage. Then you have C here. It's the A shape. C A. Still a C. Then you have the third shape, G. Still playing a C. And then you have the E shape. Still a C. And then you have the last, which is a D shape. Okay, so you learn those 5 shapes. Then you learn how to play the major and minor pentatonic in those particular shapes, right? So you got the C open position here. Then you have in the A position. Okay, and then you have it in the G shape. Yeah, and then you have the E shape. Yeah, and then you have the D shape. So what did I do there? I played the same scale, but I played it in the 5 different positions using the C shape, A shape, G, E, and D shape. And by getting familiar with playing the same scale but in different shapes, it opens up the whole fretboard. So some people can get stuck in one position. So there's E minor, right? But if you understand, okay, so there's the E minor shape, but then you have E here as well. So it's still the same scale, but you just moved it to a different position. So if you can learn the 5 shapes, then you can play in a key all over the neck. So this is the first step. You need to learn the right notes you can play, okay? And I believe learning the cage system is the most effective way to do this. But with improvisation, it's not just about playing the notes of the scale in a very rigid way. This is where you want to combine feel, like the feel that Jimi Hendrix and B.B. King have, but you also want to combine your theory knowledge to that. So you use the notes, you know the notes you should be playing, and then you apply your emotion and feel to those notes, okay? So by improving your feel, focus on rhythm, melody, and pitch, okay? So sometimes as guitar players, especially in the early stages of playing guitar, we can be inclined to overplay, to want to show off and think that more notes is better. It's often the space in between the notes which makes the music resonate and connect with people. So a great way to train your ear is by trying to mimic a vocal melody of a song. Let's take Stand By Me, for example. Okay, so this is a great way to train your ear to listen to a melody and then translate what you hear from that melody onto the fretboard, okay? So try this out yourself. Just try playing along 2 songs that you like and just try and replicate the vocal melody that you hear on your guitar. So a way I've developed my improvisation without meaning to over the years has been, I've just kind of have little licks that I like the sound of. They sound good to me. And these are kind of my go-tos. So when you listen to certain guitarists, I keep referring back to Hendrix, but Jimi Hendrix has a certain Hendrix sound, right? So Hendrix had certain chords which he liked, he had certain licks which he liked. You can listen to a Hendrix song and think, yeah, that's Jimi. Same as John Mayer, same as B.B. King, Steve Vai, Satriani, the list goes on. These players have developed a sound. And I think a big part of this comes from they've developed patterns in their playing which are recognizable. And these don't have to be complicated. You can develop these little licks of your own just from 3 or 4 notes. So let's do an exercise. I'm just gonna play a loop and we're gonna go over the top of this and try and come up with some little licks over this loop, okay? So, simple loop in the key of A minor, okay? So, let's just run back and forth and we're gonna play a little lick each, okay? So it could be something simple like that. You try. Okay, I'll go again. Okay. Now you go. Okay. Now your turn. Nice. Now you go. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop. So what we're trying to do here is create little phrases. So phrases are what forms a foundation of a solo or an improvisation, okay? The more of a catalog of licks you have, the more of kind of a baseline you have to improvise off, improvise from. We're not always gonna be locked in the pocket, in the zone, right? As guitarists, like that's the goal, to be completely in the moment with the music and be expressing what comes through us in the moment, right? That is the goal. But having little licks, having a catalog of licks, which you can fall back on, means you're not going to get caught out. And it also gives you a foundation of places you can work from. So you might have some licks here, or you might have some licks up here. The great thing about this is if you know licks all over the neck, they give you just good starting points to play from. So you can build these licks up by either jamming over a loop pedal, make a loop and just jam over it, or you can go on YouTube and chuck on any backing track in any key, major or minor, whatever the key, and just practice forming little phrases, little licks over backing tracks. And this will really improve your skills at improvising. Also, don't try and play too many notes. Try and make little phrases and licks out of just 3 to 4 notes. Something which I use a lot in my lead playing are bends, slides, and vibrato. This gives so much expression and emotion to whatever it is you're playing. You can play something very, very straight, or you can put some bends, slides, vibrato into it. Okay, so we're gonna use 5 notes of the A minor scale. We're gonna play G, A, C, D, E, okay? Okay, so we're gonna play a little game where we're gonna use these 5 notes over a backing track, and we're gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna play a phrase, and you're gonna play a phrase, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now your turn. Just those 5 notes, remember? In any order. Now your turn. Now your turn. You can go around again. do one more. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. So you can see how that exercise kind of limits the notes you can play. So it forces you to be really creative with what you do play using those 5 notes. So that exercise as well can be really, really helpful in improving your improvisation and just helping you come up with little licks and ideas which you might not have come up with otherwise. So improvisation isn't about being the fastest or the flashiest player. I mean, people like Yngwie Malmsteen, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani have made awesome careers out of being the fastest players. But what you will notice with their playing as well, they do have a lot of melody and expression in it. So it's about ultimately expressing and making people feel something. You don't need hundreds or thousands of licks. You just need an idea, and you need to put your own flavor into whatever that idea is. So if you did find this video helpful, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Peace.